Iesha.
Okay.
You are the girl that I never had, and I want to get to know you better.
See, that's why I did a test real quick.
Oh, young people, you had the nerve to say, what song is that? Young people. How do you not know that? That's good.
Is that Nicki? Is that Nicki Minaj?
Oh my God.
Hello, baby.
Oh my
It
God.
ain't little baby. We don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Oh Lordy.
Oh, true. Let me put this back out. Let him go.
So, Ayesha, for this conversation, is there anything that's off limits?
Off limits? I'll find out when you ask me. I'm like, wrong question.
So, can we ask about like your dating life?
What you want to know about my dating life?
I mean, so the show is called Anything Can Happen. So there are a variety of topics that we cover. Of course, we're going to talk about what you do and your expertise. But if it's off limits, we won't ask.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Ask whatever you want.
Maybe not that.
No, you can ask.
Ask the ancestors.
Yeah, it depends on the flow of the conversation.
The answer may end up being none of your business.
Yeah, exactly. And that's totally fine.
Right?
Right?
That's good. That's
Ask
good.
me anything you want. That very well may be
Perfect.
my answer.
I like
All right.
that.
So we have 50 minutes of airtime. So once I get the recording going, you'll see the 50 minutes, and I'll kind of give everybody like a 5-minute, 10-minute until we get down to the end.
Okay.
All right. So we just having a fun conversation.
Here,
All right.
I'm
Oh.
having fun.
Yeah. So things to remember: no clicking on the table, anything like that, because the mics
I know.
pick that up.
When you tell people not to do it, everybody then wants to do it.
Yeah.
It's in the mind. It's locked in.
Okay. I got it out, I think.
Okay. You don't got no gum or anything. You're not chewing on gum.
Maybe
Like
not.
that?
No,
Okay.
I'm not.
And what's your official title? What do you go by?
Momisha. That's what my son calls me.
Alright.
I am co-founder and CEO of BE-IMAGINATIve.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect.
We ready, y'all?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So excited.
There you go. All right.
Just be yourself too, because
Yeah.
we keep it super real on here. So
Yeah.
just be you.
We at your house. We having a conversation.
I
We
feel
just,
like it's my house.
yeah. We just have a whole bunch of
Yeah.
microphones.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome
Be in
to
the
my
zone.
home, y'all.
Be in the zone.
Uh-oh. It looks like we're going, y'all. So welcome to another episode of Anything Can Happen on
Hey.
on 96.9 KGPC. You're tuned in to Anything Can Happen with Ruby Envy, Quezzy Dreams, and your man Cat Fitness. And we have a very, very special guest for you.
In
y'all.
the building.
In the building!
Yes, y'all, we are so excited. We have a lovely woman here today named Ayesha Walker. She is an exceptional mother, a social entrepreneur, an artist, and an intuitive life coach. She's an alchemist, creating opportunities for herself, family, and community to transform our deepest pain into our greatest power and passion.
Wow.
Yes. She is the co-founder and CEO of BE-IMAGINATIve, a collection of exceptional artists, powerful healers, and impactful community leaders who are dedicated to healing Black and Brown communities through creative storytelling, particularly healing grief and loss.
Wow.
Ayesha is an agent of change, y'all. She's got a background in education, youth development, nonprofit organizations, as well as over 15 years of experience in media production, brand development, and performing arts.
Wow.
Whoa.
Welcome, Queen. Thank
Come
you
on.
so much for being here and bringing your amazing energy. I've been really excited
Blessing
about
us
having
with
you
all
on
your
this
wisdom.
show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all so much for having me.
Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that was an amazing bio, Ayesha. But tell us, what is BE-IMAGINATIve? What do you do?
Oh, wow. Be imaginative. A good friend of mine just reached out to me the other day and he said, you know, the most powerful nation on earth is the imagination.
Mm.
I was
Nice.
like,
That was deep.
What?
I see where this
I
conversation's
think
going
Right.
today.
we on the radio. You gotta say it one more time.
Coming out the back.
Oh,
Okay.
he said to me, and I don't know the author of this quote, but he said, "The most powerful nation on earth is the imagination."
Mm.
And the imaginative is, oh my goodness, it's been such a huge part of our lives, part of my life, where we are really alchemists, really creating opportunities for those in our communities who have been impacted by so much pain, so much suffering, so much hurt. It's we've really tapped into the divine in a way that allows us to transform our deepest pain into our greatest power and passion, particularly through honoring our ancestors and really holding space for them, remembering them, saying their names over and over again, bringing in the African and indigenous wisdom that has been stored in our bones and in our DNA for so long. It's been such a huge experience to just say their names, to welcome them into our spaces, and to watch them live through us, to show up through us, to really create experiences that can heal us and to really disrupt hopelessness in the most hopeless of circumstances. It's like this level of pain that we experience, you know, as Black and brown people is so vast that we can't heal it on our own. Like we have to tap into a divine source to be able to allow these experiences to alchemize us. So the way that our model works is through, we create these really beautiful, really powerful healing retreats for our community members, for our families, for ourselves, to be able to be vulnerable and to be intimate and to love on each other and to hold space with one another, like in ceremony, in ritual, in honoring our ancestors. And, you know, we have such powerful artists, healers, and community leaders who are part of these spaces that we create. And ultimately what it is like all hands on deck. Like we all gonna get this healing, like
from all different
like,
aspects.
From all different aspects. Like I might be facilitating the conversation, but I'm for sure about to be getting my healing too. And another part of what we do is our artists. We work with our community participants to tell these narratives of empowerment, like really focusing on the counter narratives of hope, of healing, of agency, of love. Because, you know, the media is so powerful and it has the power to, you know, make an innocent man look guilty and a guilty man look innocent. That's what Malcolm X said, you know, and we use that as a tool for our healing. Art being just at the forefront always in any type of movement, any type of healing. Like it has art is a superpower that really helps us to transform our circumstances.
Because it allows you to use your imagination throughout the process.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Right. That's right.
What led you to this work, though?
You know? There's got to be a story there. Because when you start talking about art, so my father is a pretty well-known Bay Area artist, right? As a matter of fact, he used to work right here, and so years ago, I created a T-shirt that just said "Art is Life," right? Because I feel like, especially for a lot of people in our community, that is our way of expressing ourselves. It's our safe space, you know, because nobody can control that in you, right? Nobody can control your creative spirit. That is only for you.
And it can't be duplicated by anybody else as well.
No matter how people try. They will try. They will try to co-opt. They will try to do whatever. But so that really resonated with me, just like as an artist myself and as a child of an artist. So
And
I want to know the history of how you got here.
Well,
you know?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who's your dad and what kind of artist are you?
So my father's name is David Bradford. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
Shout out, Pops.
Shout out isn't far because he lives right next door to me. And he's a graphic artist and all this stuff. So he retired actually from Laney, and he worked at the Art Annex back here forever and ever. He had a space back here. And then I'm a writer. I'm an award-winning makeup artist, and I do several kind of artistic. I'm a singer, so a musician. So I've done lots of. My art has been I'm a dancer. It's been a huge part of my life ever since I was a little kid, and also my saving grace in every tough time that has ever come, even the pandemic. Like I was like, I'm buying some new ballet shoes. I'm buying a portable ballet bar. I'm done. Like I had to immerse myself in artistic stuff because, I was stuck in the house.
Oh, wow.
And so that was the saving grace.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to piggyback on what Kat said. Like, what is the story? Because the way that you speak about it is so deep and it's so passionate. I can tell that there's a well of passion underneath that. And that's exciting.
People want to know.
Oh, I know I'm going to be crying.
I'm like, okay, where the tissues at?
I know where the tissues
are. We're going to cry together.
That's the right question. No, but
it's serious.
Oh, man. Well, first, I just want to give thanks and to say the names of my twin babies, my ancestor babies who guide me in this work, who gave me very clear instructions to carry out this powerful work that we've been doing in collaboration with the beautiful human beings that we've been in collaboration with, Molly and Asada Mitchell, who are my twins, my angel babies, who are in the spiritual realm, just guiding us. It was when I miscarried them, that was a really challenging experience in my life. And, one of the things that I chose to do, especially like learning so much about slowing down from my dear friends, Shirley Johnson was a powerful spiritual teacher and Kundalini yoga instructor, and so much more. Like I always reference her because she was such a huge part of my healing journey, and just gave this constant reminder to come back to the African and indigenous ways, which was slowing down. And especially when we have experiences that are so deep and so profound, and when we have like grief stacked on top of grief, like this was an opportunity for me to sit in it and to bathe in it. And that's what I did. I bathed in my grief and I let it take over me, which was so anti what I had been taught my entire life, which is like, you get up and keep it pushing. Like you got stuff to do. You got a job to keep. You have a child to raise. You got to keep going.
Yeah, you don't want to address those things. We kind of just like
right.
push them under the rug, and it weighs us down at the end of the day. And a lot of us are going through a lot of grief that we don't address. But then we use substances, alcohol, any kind of weed, food, all these things to kind of continue to push these things down, because that's what our community teaches us, not to address it.
The other side of that, because my background is in trauma and counseling, and I'm also a yoga teacher.
We need to talk,
right? Okay, so I'm a retired social worker, so that was my but trauma is actually my specialty, right? And the other side of what Kat just said, the using outside substances and stuff like that, is not doing anything, which is what a lot of Black women do, and just to push ahead, just push on, because we have all these responsibilities and stuff like that, and we don't take the time to look at ourselves or to like feel our feelings, because we've got to go to work, and we've got to do all the things, and so you know, when I had probably, I don't know, maybe my fourth or fifth miscarriage, can't even remember at this point. Yeah. My hair was falling out. And so because I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Leave me alone. Everything's fine. And I was working, you know, as a children's social worker, which made it kind of piled it on top of everything else. And so that internalizing without having any external relief, I wasn't doing drugs, you know, or anything like that. It was all stuck in. And so then what happened was my hair started falling out. And I was like, oh, you know, Kat knows this story because we've talked about this so many times. But my hairstylist was like, listen, some people have the face for baldness, but not you. So you need to get it together and pull your act together, and find some healing ways, you know, things that you can do and take control of your own healing.
You know, the body has a way to store, you know, information, and when we don't address or hold space for what it is that we're experiencing, our bodies internalize it, and then it shows up as ailments and diseases in our body
at a very cellular level. Absolutely.
I'm sending so much love to you and your family. Just thinking about those five spirits, those five, you know. I feel you. Yeah. And so much love.
Thank you. You too.
Amen. Amen. So Ayesha, you were talking about BE-IMAGINATIVE and how the loss of your twins led to the founding of this organization. But how did that process happen? So you talked about the grief that you experienced and bathing in the grief and having to go through that healing journey. And how did it go from there to the creation of this beautiful project?
Yeah. So I remember very strongly, like, just having such a powerful group of family members surrounding me. Monifa Akosua, my dear cousin, whose birthday it is today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, sis. I love you so much. You know, my family was really there for me in my process. So they were holding me in my grief. And I remember one day sitting in front of my altar, a space that I had created to honor them and to commemorate them. And I had my eyes closed and I was envisioning myself holding them. And I got these flashes of images that came to me. And those flashes of images were so clear that they became the model, our healing model for our organization. I brought them to my former business partner, and we decided together that that would be our model for our organization that we were building together 4.5 years ago, which was to hold these powerful retreats. It was to create conceptual, powerful healing art, and to have a community activation space and art show to help share these narratives of empowerment to our larger community. So it's like having this really intimate experience in our retreats, and then opening that experience up to the people in our communities. Those were the instructions that were given to me. And you know, we work together, you know, with soul development, with a group out that is such a huge part of our story. They are phenomenal artists, phenomenal musicians. The vibration of their music has gotten me through some of the darkest times of my grieving process. And you know, we decided that we wanted to do this work together, and that's what it was. And what's so powerful about BE-IMAGINATIVE is that, you know, that's just one story, my story. We all have our stories. We all have our experiences that brought us to this work. And it's been an ancestor or ancestors who have brought us to this central hub through their power, and through their wisdom, and through their foresight, because this entire journey has been so magical from, I mean, just from the moments that I had at my altar honoring my babies to all the experiences that we have had, like leading up to where we are now. We have a film out, a couple of them. One, When the Waters Get Deep, that we did in partnership.
Like a movie?
Yeah, it's a documentary. Oh, wow. We have a documentary film. It's an award-winning documentary film.
Wow. What's it called?
When the Waters Get Deep.
It was a beautiful story. I got to see it, and yeah, it's very powerful. Yeah. Oh man, like I got to be there for, I guess, one of the scenes prior to knowing what the documentary was going to be.
I think you saw Dear Beloved. Dear Beloved. I think you saw Dear Beloved. Dear Beloved is also a film that we have.
Okay, I think it might have been Dear Beloved.
Mm-hmm.
When you were in West Oakland?
And we were downtown Oakland, right?
Well, I'm talking about when you were shooting it. You were in West Oakland at the train.
Yep. You popped up. This is why this experience right here is why this is like so deep. Because it's like so many synchronicities that happen. Like Dear Beloved, both Dear Beloved and When the Waters Get Deep was created in partnership with KQED. And Dear Beloved just recently won an Emmy for and it's crazy that you showed up that day. You showed up that day when we were filming. You know, When the Waters Get Deep is a documentary. It's the story of Kariga Bailey, who is one of our founding members of BE-IMAGINATIVE and the MC with Soul Development. And you know, he tells the story of soul development. He tells his own personal story. He tells the story of BE-IMAGINATIVE. He tells his story of how he has, you know, alchemized his experiences in such profound and magical ways in honor of Kamayu Soul, Ashe, to that beautiful angel baby. And you know, and Dear Beloved is a film that is you know, honoring our mothers of BE-IMAGINATIVE. It was filmed at the West Oakland train station. I just can't stop thinking about how you popped up that day. And, you know, Mario, or Cat, my bad, bro.
Tell the government name. Come looking for me. Like, who? All the listeners. Who is that?
It's wild that our families, you know, were so close to each other and came here from the South from that very train station. So it's like that space being, they got some big portal energy in it. And you know, it's just really it's really powerful. That film, it was directed by BJ McBride and also Ely Kagra. And it tells the story of our mothers who are, excuse me, they are honoring their ancestors on camera. Like they're telling their vulnerable stories. They're like honoring them, commemorating them. And then it also is coupled with the music of soul development. Such powerful music, and it's hosted. The experience is hosted by Pendarvis Harshaw, dear friend of mine.
OG Pen.
Yeah, OG Pen. And it is so powerful to create this type of media because, you know, somewhere down the line, and we know the story. Like we've been, we this is an opportunity to remember the African and indigenous ways of being by honoring our ancestors and to share with the world like how we do this. Like that's the way that we get through our grief. That's the way that we transform our pain into power and passion. It's because we do it in their name over and over and over again.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, they've been.
And well, let me ask you this. So it sounds like BE-IMAGINATIVE was founded 4.5 years ago. Is that correct? And I heard you mention a former business partner. So is that, did you like break off that partnership, or did it just evolve, or like what happened on that?
Yeah, we broke from the partnership. It's so, you know, we started BE-IMAGINATIVE together and broke off about last year.
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen.
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does.
It happens, and it's okay.
because everything serves a purpose.
That's
right.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything
it
happens
served
for a
a
reason.
purpose and continues to grow. What interests me is these retreats because, like, where do you even start the healing process when you come to a retreat like
Oh,
that?
yes, me too. I want to know this too because I'm a
You know?
retreat woman. I'm a retreat woman person. So yes.
I mean,
Tell us.
it's a walk by faith, not by sight. Because there's so much that happens. Like, how do you start the healing process? That process that starts well before we even aware. Like, I think about, the first time that we even decided to have this healing retreat. We started in Sacramento, and here I am, like, how the hell are we gonna do this? Like, I'm not qualified for this.
Yeah.
But it took.
But you were chosen.
Yeah, that
So
you
that's
are.
right. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You actually are. Yes.
Yeah. Walk by faith, not by sight. We were chosen. So we pray hard, heavy, like before even going into these healing spaces, before even reaching out to our families, before even doing any of this. And it's been an affirmation that I carry with me every single time that come into any type of space holding that Shirley Johnson reminded me of. She said, because I was venting to her one day, I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I'm not qualified. I don't have no background experience and none of this shit. Like, what the hell? And she was like, girl, it was like one of them. This ain't you. Like, you a vessel. You a vessel for divine flow to come through you. So remember the affirmation: all of you, none of me. So that's what I would be saying over and over: all of you, none of me. All of you, none of me. All of you, none of me. So like, as we're setting up the space, as we're decorating, like at the placement of our cloths, like the candles that we light, the ancestors' pictures that we put up, like the decoration is a prayer. Like everything we do is a prayer. And it really involves such intimate trust, to call people in together who may not have ever met each other, to go into a deep healing space and to open up wounds that we sometimes and oftentimes want to just cover up. It's that's how we start.
That's real. That's very real. And what has been one of the most profound experiences you've had at one of these retreats?
Oh, it's always a profound experience. And there's not no one of which one is the most profound, because they're all the most profound. But the one that stands out to me right now is at our first healing retreat, which was with our founding mothers of BE-IMAGINATIVE, Mama Myra Jones and Mama Sharon Bailey, two phenomenal women in my life. We also had Mama Gwen Woods there, who was such a huge part of our development. She mentored me the whole way. In honor of our son, Mario Woods. That experience that we had at that retreat, that first one, was such an affirmation for the rest of this work. I remember sitting in a circle with our mothers and our families, and Mama Sharon was speaking. She was speaking of her story, and in honor of her son, Kareem Johnson, whose picture was on the altar, huge picture of him. And I remember Mama Myra cutting her off. And she stopped her in the middle of her story. And in my mind, I'm like, why is she stopping her in her story? And I had to do away with that white supremacist way of wanting to control the whole space and give myself that affirmation: all of you, none of me, all of you, none of me. Like, let spirit work. Like, I should calm your ass down. And Mama Myra Jones, she said to Mama Sharon, she said, did your son used to work at the nail center? And I watched Mama Sharon and her son, both like both. And then they shook their head, yeah. At the same time. And I'm like, what's about to happen? Like, what? And Mama Myra said, I know your son. She
Wow.
said, your son mentored my son.
Wow.
Her son, Deontay Jones, who is a founding ancestor. These are founding ancestors of our organization. This was founded with our ancestors. And it was in that moment that I'm like, damn, this shit is well beyond us. Like, so when you talk about how do you start a healing experience? How do you start these retreats? Like this shit is so much written well before us and in ways that we couldn't even imagine. And we later found out that like these beautiful souls had, when they were here, partied with each other, went to each other's baby showers, like showed up for each other, and and it was like such a powerful experience. So I took some pictures of them back at Sacramento. We went back to the Pinnell Center, and there's pictures of Mama Myra and Mama Sharon, and you see them like hugging and holding hands, and just sharing so much love with the sun right behind them. The sun symbolizing their sons, connecting them together, that we are abundantly connected, that we are deeply connected in powerful ways. And I also remember at that same retreat, I remember trying to make myself and my story small, because I was like, my experience doesn't equate to these experiences that our mothers and families are having. So mine doesn't matter, which was one of the biggest lies I could ever told myself. And I remember towards the end of that retreat, we had such a long day of this powerful healing experience that Mama Sharon, she just got up and started speaking, and she took over the entire retreat. Like, she took over the space in a way that only spirit can. Like, her energy is like water. It gets into the crevices of the places that even I'm trying to hide. And so it was a moment where she stood up and she looked at me and she said, can we take a moment to honor Ayesha's womb? And she put her hand over my belly and she said that this loss is unique because it happened inside of me. And I just broke down into tears as she prayed over my belly. She prayed over my womb. And it was in that moment that I knew that I had given birth to my babies, but just in a different way, that this was the way that they wanted to be born. This is how they wanted to be reborn. And this is the work that we do. Like, we are rebirthing and allowing ourselves to be the vessels that we are in connection to the divine, to allow these stories to flow through us, because these stories are what heal our communities.
Wow. That's very, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. And I know, well, I don't know, but from what I've learned, like, my mother had a miscarriage, right? So I've done my own independent research, and I know we've all heard the story about Serena Williams almost like bleeding to death when she was giving birth to a child, right? And obviously there are a lot more Black women and women of color who are at risk for miscarriage and things of this nature, like before the child is born, not even including after the child is born. So it's very, very, very important work that you're doing. And how can more women get involved in this? Like, how does that process work?
I think it's different for everybody. And I think that this is an experience that we have to come to be ready for. And I think that wherever we are in our processes, that it's okay to be right where we are, whether that's in the pain, whether that's in the denial, whether that's in the guilt, whether that's in the sadness, whether that's in the joy, whatever it is. Like, it's so important for us to meet ourselves where we are and be very tender and kind to our processes. And, you know, when we are ready to tap into the spirit of our ancestors. And I know that, like, that can sometimes be really scary. It can be taboo. It can be, you know, anti what we've been taught.
Very anti. That was going to be what I was going to say.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's systematically that way. You know, I know that we are very powerful people, and especially Black people, especially those indigenous people. Like, we are so powerful that the moment we say the name of an ancestor, like, magic happens, power happens.
It
And
reveals certain things to you.
it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's taking the time to be able to recognize those moments, you know what I'm saying? And being present.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, because we have so much going on, when the ancestors reveal themselves to us, we're not present enough to receive. We're not open enough to receive.
We haven't been taught to do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have not, in this country, we have not been taught to
Well, we've been
honor
stripped
that.
of so many things,
Absolutely. Stripped of it. And then for those that have tried to kind of bring forth this understanding and this knowledge, kind of like a lot around what your organization is doing, it's, pushed away, or because, again, with do we have time for honoring our ancestors? Do we have time for stuff like that? Is that really even a thing? How does that go against religion or Christianity? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And I
Yeah.
think this is where we have to be imaginative.
Yes.
And this is where we have to be very protective of our imaginations,
Yes.
also because I hear you, and I know that is part of the story, and it's not the whole story, because we always honor our ancestors. Like, we as a people, like, when we pour alcohol into the earth, this for my homies. Like, we honor our ancestors. Like, when somebody transitions, like, we'll see candles and altar spaces and teddy bears and balloons on a specific place. Like, it's happening. And I think we have to be very careful about how we talk about it, because where focus goes, energy flows.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so when we say over and over again that we are doing this, we do this, we've always done this, it's always been in our DNA. That's the affirmations. Muhammad Ali said, it's the repetition of affirmations that lead to belief. And once we believe with deep conviction, real things begin to happen. And when we are protective of our imaginations, and we say that this is happening, and we always do this, and we've always done this, it creates one, accessibility. Because when having these conversations in my hood with people who I've grown up with, and to let you know, you've been honoring your ancestors. You've been doing this. You've been doing it. I see people walking around with these chains that they got with pictures of our loved ones in it. Like, that's some power right there.
Yeah.
And we may not recognize it in the same way. It may not look exactly the same, but it's in us.
Yeah.
It's very much in us.
Yeah. Since I got a question for you, but I do want to remind you on the radio. So you got it, just like
what I do.
Like, no big deal. No, it happens.
Okay,
it happens
my
to
bad.
everybody, but, my question for you. So just shifting gears a little bit. Like, obviously these are very powerful, profound, emotional experiences, right? But in terms of like joy and enlightenment and empowerment, right? Like, how do you draw those emotions from something that can seem very, very down?
Oh yes, I love that question right there, because Black joy is where it's at. I'm quoting Shirley again, who says, "Grief and joy are two sides of the same coin." When we can go deep into the grief, it's like a cleansing. It creates space for us to really have some real joy. Like, we got this. Okay, we took this time. We had this grief. I got this big ass cry out. I sat in this pain. And it doesn't mean that it just goes away and that's it and it's over. It's a process, and it's cyclical oftentimes, always, I think. But when we go deep off into the pain, it clears up space to really experience joy in a way that I don't think we can experience without going deep into the pain.
I agree with that too, because I've done a lot of work with people on this, and what I think part of the challenge for a lot of people, and I mostly work with women, so I'm just going to say the challenge with a lot of women, is that it's the need, you have to be vulnerable in order to reach that, to go to the other side, right? So you have to allow, especially in a group space, right? Group healing, it can be so hard if you've experienced trauma from your childhood, or if you've experienced abuse, or all of those things. It's so hard to let down those walls, to allow the healing to come in, to allow the acknowledgement of what you've experienced to come through, because it's excruciating, and people don't like excruciating, even if on some level they know, okay, the healing's on the other side of the pain, right? But the pain is too hard, it's really, really hard. And so I think that the type of work that you do is one of those things that we need so desperately, to tell people, okay, this is a safe space to just say, let's do this together,
but
in a community,
You know what the invitation is, and oftentimes what the thing is that makes it like almost irresistible is the art. It's like art has the power to bring somebody into a vibration way faster than me having a conversation with you telling me that. It's really important for us to be feeling like to have somebody, whether they walk in by accident, whether they just walking down the street and they just hear, it's somebody speaking, or an art show, or music, like, to come into a healing space and to hear, the voice of Brittany Tanner, to hear the words of Karika Bailey, to hear the words of Felicia Gangloff Bailey and Lauren Adams, like, and all of these powerful musicians, to see the artwork of Zoe Boston and Gabe Babaoye, like, it just drops us in immediately. And before we even have time to think, because that's how spirit moves. Elder Malidoma Patrice O'May, in his book, The Healing Wisdom of Africa.
Oh, I have one of his books.
Ooh.
It's another one, a Sister Circle book, or something about women's, or something about healing circles. I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
Anyway, I have it at home.
I mean, this elder here. Ooh, thank you, God, for creating this man. He talks about how there's no differentiation in the indigenous world between the priest and the artist, because the priest's job is to be the liaison between spirit and what's in physical. And that's what art is. Art is a portal. It's the creation of a portal to access that spiritual realm, which brings me to a mural that was just created by Octavio, the 8th son, who has painted this really beautiful, powerful mural in the Fruitvale district, right next to the dollar store, the Dollar Tree. It's a heart that is it's wounded, but there's some sewing together of this heart in collaboration with human beings here in the flesh and our ancestors. And like, that piece of art so powerfully tells the story of what is happening when we use art as an action. When we use art, when we do what Nina Simone says, it's an artist's duty to reflect the times. Like, this is what creates these profound healing experiences for us, and allows people to drop in when we normally would be guarded, or normally would be fearful, or normally would be like, hell no, I'm not doing this. This ain't for me.
Right.
Art has the power to disrupt those cycles.
Absolutely.
So true. So like, when I used to be a trauma counselor at a adolescent rehab, and what I found was that all of the things for helping my girls on my caseload that I had learned in grad school and school office weren't doing the trick, right? Because they had all experienced trauma. They had all been diagnosed with PTSD, and had gone through some stuff that could be unimaginable to some people. And I was like, how come nothing's working? Like, I'm trying all the traditional school stuff, and I was like, this is not working, right? And so I created a spirituality group for my girls, and that's what my book is based on. That's what my book is all about, right? It's based on the stuff that we did, there was so much music involved. There was so much dancing involved. There was so much creating involved, different art things. I had everybody once create their own altar, just stuff that had that had not really happened before, because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing clearly, and so I'm just gonna try what speaks to me.
You let spirit take
You
over.
know, right.
You let spirit take
Open
over.
yourself up to become this vessel.
Right. So I was like, I'm gonna try this because their spirit was not in what I was doing before, you know? And so, right. And so, and that's what I found was the way in. It, you know, all of those things was what I found was the way in. And so it's what you're saying is really speaking to me.
I'm a former educator. I've been in education for around 10 years. And that stuff is, you know, you sign in the manual, like, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I was so lucky though, because my boss was like, do whatever.
Yeah.
Because you know, she and I thanked her in my book too. I was like, I don't know what you were thinking when you hired me, but because here I come with all this crazy, you know, strange out of pocket stuff. But you know, fortunately, I was given that kind of freedom to just, you know, create.
I had a principal that I work with like that. His name is Javier Cabra, who also shaped a lot of my identity as a professional, because it's so magically and so powerfully and brilliantly that he brings in African and indigenous wisdom into the ways that he runs his schools. And you know, a lot of this work is deeply inspired by him.
Yeah. And this has been a phenomenal conversation. I can already tell that we're gonna need you back for part 2. As we come to a close, you know, what's next for BE-IMAGINATIVE, right? Like, what's next, and how can we and the people listening support the mission?
I say, what is next is, you know, we are really building for sustainability for our organization. We are building so that we can be around for however long this earth is around, it's however long BE needs to be around. And you know, we're continuing to tell these powerful stories. We're continuing to hold these healing circles for our community members. We're continuing to do like really powerful work. And we need support in doing it. We definitely need support in doing it.
What does that look like?
It looks like funding. It looks like in-kind contributions and human people power. It looks like artists also continuing this work, whether in collaboration with BE-IMAGINATIVE or not, like to continue to use art as an opportunity to heal our communities, and then for us to continue to stay involved with the honoring of our ancestors. Another thing that we are working on is in collaboration with Dads Evoking Change is an opportunity for us to really heal the whole communities, like the work that we've been doing with BE-IMAGINATIVE and Dads Evoking Change is really honoring the whole village, the entire village, so that we can really do some violence prevention. It's like mending the Black families back together so that we can, you know, come back to what Sobonfu Some, God rest her soul, talks about in her book, the spirit of intimacy. It's like coming back to the tribe, the whole village. So I would ask people, if folks feel moved, to support us. Go to be-imaginative.org/donate. And that every dollar that people use to support us is a prayer for the continuation of this work.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. So be-imaginative, you said .org/donate. Let's mobilize the people, support this movement.
Right.
So since everything has kind of been shut down for the last year and a half, like when are retreats going to start opening back up for people to come out to one of your retreats?
Yeah. We have stuff coming up. A lot of stuff has been virtual right now. But we definitely, we have follow our Instagram at BE-IMAGINATIVE Collective, and we have events coming up. We do really powerful work with an organization, the Song Remedy, which was founded by one of our founding members of BE-IMAGINATIVE, Brittany Tanner, who creates these really profound healing experiences in collaboration with us for a larger community. So I would say just be on the lookout, follow us, because we definitely have stuff in the works cooking up to continue this work.
So your IG is B dash collective? No, B
no.
collective.
BE-IMAGINATIVE
Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, that's why I needed to clarify. I will tear the whole thing to shreds.
I got you. And you know what? In tearing the whole thing, I know you talk about that, but it just made me think about this quote by Derek Wilcott, who says, "Break a vase, and the love that reassembles the fragments is stronger than the love which took its symmetry for granted when it was whole."
Nice.
And
Wow.
yeah,
Beautiful.
that's the quote that really guides this work. That we can find peace from these broken pieces when we all pick up each piece at a time, one at a time, and do it so carefully and with so much love. And we all do our parts in putting the broken pieces back together and finding the peace from those pieces, like Iana Van saying.
Amen. That's extremely powerful. So just one more time, for people who want to find more information and get involved, where's the best place to find that?
Websites, emails, everything.
Oh, okay. Y'all
Yeah,
want it all.
we want it all.
Okay. be-imaginative.org is our website. Our Instagram is at BE-IMAGINATIVE Collective. And those are the two places that y'all can find us. Okay. You want to contact us, hop on that Instagram. We got you.
Yes.
Outstanding. Well, anything that you like to leave the people with as we conclude?
I love y'all. Y'all my newfound family.
Come on, we love you too.
Yes, that's why I was like, I see you. I was like, oh yeah, we know each other from the past. Like we done met before many a times, because this vibe that y'all are creating is so it's so powerful, and I feel it, and I don't know that I would have stepped into this vibration had it not been, around powerful people like y'all. So I just really appreciate y'all inviting me. This is beautiful.
We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you so much. And this conversation was everything and more than I had anticipated, because I was really excited about you coming here after reading up on you and what you do. And you definitely did not disappoint. You were such a huge boon to our community, and I'm so grateful that you were here and so grateful to meet you. Thank you so much.
Oh, bless. Ashe. Thank you.
All right, y'all. So, Miss Kenya, can you tell the people where they can find you at?
Yes, y'all can find me at Ruby Envy on Instagram, at Ruby Envy on Facebook, at Ruby Envy on Twitter, at Kenya Asa on LinkedIn, and we are Ruby Envy Wellness, and we work with women on all of their wellness, spiritual, holistic healing needs, and we are here for you. Holla at me. How about you, Brother Kwesi?
Yes. This is Kwesi Dreams. I specialize in all things finance. Definitely going to tap on Miss Ayesha about some funding opportunities.
Hello.
So I'm excited about that. But you can find me at Kwesi.dreams. That's KWESI.dreams on Instagram. And follow our business page at Alignment Agency. That's at Alignment AGNCY for all things finance. Kat, talk to us about it.
Yeah, you can find your man Kat on IG at CatFitness3. You can check out my website, catfitnesswellnesscenter.com. If you're interested in not only losing weight, but transforming yourself, mind, body, and spirit, that's what we tend to specialize in. Thank you for tuning in to another episode on 96.9 KGPC. You're tuned into the Anything Can Happen show, and we will see you next week. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
What I do?
Boom.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Thank y'all so much.
oh my
So much
goodness.
great energy in here today, y'all. So
Oh!
much great energy. Oh, man.
Thank you, big bro.
Come on. We had to bring it together. This is the first of many.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us some feedback.
I'm gonna go cry in the car.
She gonna go cry in the car.
I'm gonna cry in the car. That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
let it flow.
Yeah, y'all. What I said is how I feel. Like y'all really create a vibe up in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
appreciate your energy.
Hey, likewise.
And it's one of those things that, like I was saying, it's like we don't talk enough about this in the community. We are. It's becoming a bigger conversation. You know what I'm saying? More of us are seeing the need for these spaces to be created, and it's just like we're highlighting. Just like I said on the phone, it's like creating bigger platforms for like yourself to be heard around the world. You know what I'm saying? Like knowing that this work is being done and we can reflect on our ancestors and allow our ancestors to guide us through this process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Opening up, like that's what this is all about, you know?
Yeah. And I didn't know Karika was involved with this. Like, did they promote this on their page?
Really? Yeah, all the time.
Wow.
The documentary that Karika promotes that a lot.
That.
Oh, yeah.
How can we? I should have asked this, and I thought it in my head, but sometimes that things don't come out of my mouth. How do we see the documentaries, or are they on it? How do we do that?
Oh, that was
I meant to, but we can put that on our Instagram.
I can send y'all Dear Beloved. Dear Beloved is out. Sorry, I just email. I can send y'all Dear Beloved.
Oh, good.
And then whenthewaters.getdeep.org is where you can follow information about the documentary.
Okay.
So that's not out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
I mean,
but just
it's
information about when
circuit.
it's. Oh, cool.
It's in the film festival circuit right now.
Nice.
That should be coming to a close soon because it's been a little while, but but Dear Beloved is available to watch anytime.
Okay. Is it like on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Let me send that right now.
Wow.
I can't wait.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And also, so how are y'all funding BE-IMAGINATIVE right now? Is it like locally funded? Is it self-funded?
We have some grants, grants and some donations that we've been getting from supporters, and then we're starting to get some contracts to support us and to continue this work.
Where are you out of right now? Are you local?
We're based in Oakland, but we have our healing experiences all throughout California. We've had some healing experiences in out of the state too, in DC and New York. But this is Dear Beloved.
Okay. Yeah, if you send it to Kat, he can send it to all of us. Okay. How long is it?
It's about 27 minutes. This was a virtual experience that we had. It was a live virtual experience.
Perfect.
This last year has been full of the virtual experiences because I love retreats, and I've done several since the beginning of the pandemic, and so it's all been like everything's been Zoom, So it'll be nice. It'll be nice to be.
We're having a party. We're having a party on the 18th of July. Still trying to solidify locations and stuff for that stuff. So we're definitely looking for some donations, in-kind donations. I don't know why I didn't say that online.
We can put it on Instagram too. Put that on Instagram too. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Well, maybe we shouldn't do that just yet because the date may change. We're so early in our planning, but we do need some support with that because it's been 4.5 years and we've never had a celebration. It's like, and so when you ask that question around like joy and coming into joy, like it's past time.
Yeah.
It's been time for us to like really come into that work.
Yeah. We got to get together like that. I see that with a lot of, especially small Black businesses and entrepreneurs, right? Like so many people are doing really, really powerful work, but we're not collaborating.
Yeah,
we're not reaching across the aisle.
So true.
You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together.
Right. I've been
I
just
wanna
been
go far with
talking
y'all.
about that too, because with this also my new passion is, I call it Momanatrix. I actually have momanatrix.com for the mom work that I've been talking about. Remember I told you about Ayesha Walker, all that other stuff. And now it's just like constant. And here it's just like what you were saying about I had, when I retired, I was like, I am done with anything related to social work, moms, kids. That I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's just too emotionally taxing. Okay, so it chases me like a rabid dog. I can't even go on vacation without some mom trying to get her kids back coming up to me. It's just there's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do to escape it all the time. I was in Santa Cruz and a homeless girl trying to get her kids back. Like I followed her through the whole court process and mentored her through the whole court. What, like I can just be standing on a street corner and here it comes. There's nothing I can do. One girl just texted me four times during this. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop running, and I'm just going to do what obviously I am supposed to do.
Oh, so okay.
I retired thinking I'm done, and it's like, no, ma'am.
Wow.
No, you're not.
Wow.
I will not leave you alone. And so so I'm talking to my guy that helps me with my marketing stuff about getting grants and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, you don't need grants. We can do it another way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how. So, it's just all
Yeah, we working on diversifying these revenue streams.
Yes.
We gotta make the money because I'm not gonna lie, like it's been challenging for me because I'm like one, it's like to be conditioned as an employee my whole life, and to come into this work off the heart, off of and capitalism,
Yes.
and like why, like it's been a shift, but it's happening. It's happening. Next month is 1 year